Welcome to Lizards of the Toast, my friend, and I'm very excited, brothers, sisters, and siblings, to share this with you because I've been working on this for like a month and a half. I've been testing the heck out of this, and I think when I go play in stores, this will be the deck I play with because I have been just wiping the floor with this. Now, I love that mono black, not Goryo's Vengeance, but this deck right here, this flavorful 8 Goif Jund is so good. This deck is so good. So bear with me. That is an Eldrazi spawn, but I like the goat. So I use that as an Eldrazi. Let's get right into the main deck here. And our creature base is pretty thick, to be honest. All right. So we have Dr. C, or as some call her Darcy, but I like Dr. C because she has a PhD. I mean, her name may be Darcy, but that PhD deserves some respect. Now look at that one. Japanese. So beautiful. What a beautiful script that language is, huh? We have the Nethergoyf. So Dragon's Rage Channeler is good in any deck with red in Modern. But Nethergoyf is great because we're constantly filling our graveyard. So that's what this is. This is a reanimator. Not a reanimator, I'm sorry. It's like a Delirium Jund, but with 8 Goyfs. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 Nethergoyfs. That 1-drop just cannot be beaten. So its power is equal to the number of cards among cards in our graveyard. Its toughness is equal to that number plus 1. So pretty good. It's Tarmogoyf for 1, but with our graveyard only. And now let's talk about the Goyf. So Scrounging Deathclaw, or Tarmogoyf as we know him, is equal to the number of card types among cards in all graveyards, and its toughness is equal to that number plus 1. So we get a little bump, and it's nice. 2 mana, not bad. So does anybody remember their first encounter with a Deathclaw in the 3-dimensional Fallout games? Because I do. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4 Deathclaws. Now, FOMO was 1. Oh my gosh. This card is great, but we had to cut one of them. I don't know if one will find its way back. I'm kind of using one in a janky commander deck right now, but 3 of these seems to be doing it for us because we have another reason. All right, so 1, 2, 3. 3 of those. Now, Detective's Phoenix doesn't trigger with a certain card in this deck, so we're running also 3 Detective's Phoenix because it is 3 mana. Street Wraith, 3 of 3, my friends. 1, 2, 3. So just to be reviewing, Street Wraith, you cycle it, pay 2 life, discard, draw. And Detective's Phoenix, in case anybody doesn't know, it has flying, it has haste, enchanted creature gets +2/+2, has flying and haste, and I can cast it from the graveyard using its bestow ability. And with one of these, look at that, 3, 4, 5. This and then one other card, exiled, is not that bad. It's not going to hurt our Goyfs too bad. But we're running just 3 of those because, again, we're not necessarily wanting to be collecting or bestowing by collecting this evidence because we like our graveyard to be full. But every turn, we can really fill our graveyard. And fear of missing out, if anybody doesn't know, Delirium, whenever it attacks, it gives a second combat phase to a target creature. And of course, when it enters or attacks, when it enters, discard a card, then draw a card. So that's pretty good. And again, it's pushing our discard theme. All right, there we go. So that is our creature base. Let's do a quick review. It's pretty simple, right? Those Goyfs play the big role there. Everything's played around those Goyfs to get them doing their job. So let's talk about our instance. We have a Lightning Bolt. Deals 3 damage to target creature or player. Bing, bong. Very cool. But we only need 2 of them because Tribal Instant Tarfire is a goblin and an instant. So this is 2 creature types. Again, that's going to trigger our Delirium. 1, 2, 3, 4. Faithless Looting. Look, it's back. It's back. It's back. Oh my god, it's back. So for 1 red, we get to draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. And just to let you guys know, Tarfire is a lightning bolt that deals 2 damage to target creature or player. And that 2 creature types is absolutely wonderful in this deck, which is why we're running 4 of those. So we can get 1 of those in the graveyard ASAP. Because really, you can get huge creatures turn 2 and turn 3. So, Faithless Looting, of course, is draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. That flashback is relevant. Definitely relevant. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at, we got nice old school one and those two. So 4 of the Faithless Lootings. Now, Malevolent Rumble is a powerhouse, but we're only running 3. And this is why we have our Eldrazi Spawn and or Goat token. Or is it Eldrazi Scion? I can't remember, but tap it. It creates a colorless. Sacrifice it. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a permanent card from among them into your hand. Put the rest into your graveyard. Create a 0/1 Eldrazi Spawn creature token with sacrifice this creature. Add 1 voided mana. But it can be 1 generic for us. So that's good. It's like a free spell. So for 1 green, we'll get 1 of our generic back. 1, 2, 3, because it's filling the yard. Now this card right here, you will not see a lot of play. You don't see a lot of people playing this. I am playing this because this works so good with our Goyfs. And again, we're running just 3 of these. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them. If that card has mana value 2 or less, you may put it onto the battlefield and it gains haste until end of turn. If you didn't put the revealed card onto the battlefield this way, put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. These are not going into the graveyard. But that hasty thing right there, so let's say turn 1, okay? We played a Tarmogoyf, a Nethergoyf, and let's say we have a fetch land, a Wraith, and a Bauble in the graveyard. On turn 2, in essence, we can have, would be like a 3/4 with haste. So that's not bad. But turn 3 is where it really shines, because then we can have done something on this turn like Malevolent Rumble and have like 5 types in the graveyard. But in any case, turn 3, one of these, and hitting a Goyf on there is great, especially if you have a Goyf already out. Now, Mishra's Bauble is just a no-brainer in here because it's a free Delirium trigger and a free card draw. This 0 mana artifact, it just eats up space in the deck. It oozes consistency in decks. Am I right, my friends? 1, 2, 3, 4. So sacrifice the Bauble, of course. Look at the top card of target player's library. Us or them. In this deck, it's pretty good to look at our library. Draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. So this can be utilized with all of our cantrip-like effects where we're looking at cards on the top of our library and putting them places. So this will give us an eye on the top card. Knowing when to do that is very important, because we may not want to do one of those spells if we have a convenient Goyf, and on our next turn we may want to do the breakout. Give it haste. So let's talk about the mana base. I'm not sure, but I may add another Blood Crypt or a Raucous Theater to this in replacement of this forest, but because of the Blood Moon in the area, the Blood Moon problem we have around here, this seems to be a very good thing to have when I need it. So we have 1 forest, 1 swamp, and 2 mountains. Those are our basic lands. So just 4 of those. There's our Blood Crypt, Overgrown Tomb, we have 2 of those. Stomping Ground, 2 of those, and 1 commercial district. Because one of these in a deck like this is good. A lot of decks, people put these in and it's no good. You can call me crazy and Soul Trader. I do not run any of these lands because it's too slow for what the deck wants to do. So, really, I think right here, these Stomping Grounds, they're great mana. It's a great mana source. It's fast. The 1 commercial district's fine. And 1 Arena of Glory, because I like these fetchables better. I did run 2, and it's another way to give haste. But honestly, for the cost of it with the exertion, I do like Breakout better. So cut down a little bit in the mana base, but even so. So our fetch lands, this is where it gets fetchably fetching. So as you see, I believe we have 9 or 10 fetchables. Let me see, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fetchables. And we should have 8 fetch lands. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. Giving us 19 lands. Right? Yes, should be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Just wanted to check because I did move a couple things around today before the video, because I like you guys to be fresh, you know what I mean? So let's talk about the sideboard. This is the most simple sideboard in history, except the sideboard in not Goryo's Vengeance, which is almost as simple. These simple sideboards, okay, so you saw we had the lightning bolt. So if we have certain problems, we can sideboard some things. And we're going to sideboard those things in groupings of 3. So Pyroclasm is going to deal 2 damage to each creature. Anybody trying to get out cats, things like that, humans, any of these tokens, 2 damage to each creature is huge. Think of this just wiping the floor with the Orcish Bowmasters, and it does. That's why we're not running them in here, because we find ourselves running Pyroclasm in the main deck so much. 1, 2, and 3. And aren't those nice versions? Yeah, those could almost be graded if you look at the back, like 9. So we have 3 Fatal Pushes as our instant to destroy target creature if it has converted mana cost 2 or less, but we don't care about that in this deck. It's irrelevant sometimes, but mostly we're going to be destroying that creature if it has converted mana cost 4 or less instead of a permanent we control left the battlefield this turn. 1, 2, 3. Pick your poison is to get rid of pesky enchantments that are hurting our graveyard. It's going to hit creatures with flying like Murktide. And it is why we splash green in the deck to a degree besides Tarmogoyf, because it's such a great card. I love these 3 options here for 1 green. And having that Acrofact, having to Sacrifact and Acrofact, that's really good for the upcoming meta where you're going to see a lot of the mocks. Even been thinking, I'll show you here. Okay, so 3 of those. Now here's where it gets a little different. So I've been thinking actually to take out these Damping Spears and maybe, I don't know, something. But I do want to try Meltdown in here too. So this is our, anybody trying to do something fancy, mostly Tron, but each spell a player casts costs 1 more to cast for each other spell that player casts this turn. So this is going to work hand and foot with the Magebane. So these 2 will be in the deck together always, because this is going to be double whammy for Ruby Storm, which seems to be quite popular. You know, I like Ruby Storm. I love Storm. I haven't played it since Poison Storm with my horror show with the getting absolutely destroyed with the Gruul Rat Priest. All right, anyhow, that is the sideboard. Like I said, very simple. And yeah, I like that clean, you know, we can pop out one thing and then pop out a playset of something. But we have these 3 clean decisions. Bauble belongs there. And the Haywire Might's always good. Plus, it's an artifact creature. So that's nice because it's 2 types as well. And I don't think it would be wise or advantageous to be running too much other nonsense in this deck. In the form of, I don't know. Like, if you start trying to make this like the older Jund with like a Ragavan way, I don't think that would be advantageous. Now, we will do gold fishing with this because I am going to tell you, this is probably the most fun I have had in like a 1.5 years gold fishing. Since I first gold fished with sometimes Dead is Better. Since I first did that, I haven't had this much fun. This is the most fun I've had gold fishing. Maybe as much fun as I had when I was gold fishing Rot Priest and thought I was going to own some giant tournament. And then got absolutely handled. But in any case, this deck right here, I love it. And I feel like it is very viable, and it is just kicking butt. So you guys are going to see this one, and you're going to see Not Goryo's Vengeance doing a lot of work against some metagame decks. Thank you for joining me, and as always, like and subscribe, and there'll be a deck list right below. Look at that, under 15 minutes. Am I getting better? I didn't digress one time. Oh, I just digressed. All right, you guys have a good one.